Have you ever received a gift that just didn't feel right? Maybe it looked beautiful. Maybe it came from someone you know. But something inside you whispered, "Don't keep it." You didn't know why. It just felt off. And soon after, strange things started happening. You felt more tired, more anxious. Maybe small things around the house started going wrong. Arguments, broken appliances, even your sleep got worse. And all you could think was, what changed? Sometimes it's not what you're doing that opens the door to bad energy. It's what you're allowing into your life without even realizing it. That's what we're talking about today. Because believe it or not, some gifts can carry the kind of energy you don't want anywhere near your home, your heart, or your peace of mind. And after 60, when your energy is precious and your space is sacred, you've got to be extra careful about what you accept. Now, I'm not saying you should be suspicious of every gesture. Most people mean well, but not all gifts are harmless. Some come with strings, some come from the wrong energy, and some just bring more weight than they're worth. So today, I want to share with you a few things I've learned, things that might help you protect your peace, keep your space clear, and say no thank you with confidence when you need to. We're going to talk about 8 types of gifts you should never accept. Because your home isn't just 4 walls and a roof. It's a reflection of your energy, and what you allow into it can shape your life in more ways than you think. Let's start with the first one. And this might surprise you. Sometimes a gift is not really a gift. It's a history lesson in disguise. I'm talking about inherited items or keepsakes from people you didn't really know, especially those who lived difficult or troubled lives. A ring, an old watch, a piece of furniture, maybe a painting someone says has been in the family for years. It seems meaningful. It's got a story. But here's the thing. Objects hold energy. When something has passed through years of hardship, pain, or emotional turmoil, that energy doesn't just disappear, it stays. And when you bring that object into your space, you're inviting that whole story in with it. Imagine setting a vase on your shelf that once sat in the home of someone who was always angry, always grieving. That vase might be pretty, but the energy it carries is heavy. You may not see it, but you feel it, quietly weighing on you. If you've ever had something in your home that just felt off, even though it had sentimental value, trust your gut. You don't have to keep something just because someone says it's important. If the story behind it feels dark or if you don't feel connected to it, it's okay to let it go. You can thank the person who gave it. You can honor the past, but you don't have to carry it with you. That's not disloyal. That's wisdom. Now let's talk about something that might hit closer to home. Gifts from people you have a complicated relationship with. Maybe it's someone in the family. Maybe it's an old friend or someone who's caused you hurt in the past. They give you something nice, a scarf, a book, maybe even something expensive. It seems thoughtful, but deep down it feels like there's something else behind it. You start to wonder, why now? Or maybe you sense a little guilt trip coming with the gift. Maybe it's meant to patch over something that was never really talked through. Or worse, it's a silent reminder that you now owe them something. Let me tell you this. A gift should never feel like a contract. If you feel tense, confused, or even pressured when you receive something from someone, that's your spirit trying to warn you. Because gifts carry the energy of the giver. And if that person's intentions aren't clear or pure, if there's manipulation, guilt, or control behind the gesture, you're not just bringing in a sweater or a candle, you're bringing in all that emotional baggage too. Especially as we get older, peace becomes priceless. You don't need to carry relationships that feel heavy. And you certainly don't need to accept gifts that reopen wounds or bind you to people in ways you're not comfortable with. It's perfectly okay to say, I appreciate the thought, but I'm not able to accept this. That one line can protect your energy more than you know. Another type of gift to be cautious with is one that's been involved in conflict or dispute. Maybe it's something that came out of a family disagreement, like a piece of furniture that siblings argued over, or a piece of jewelry passed down after a will caused more drama than closure. Maybe it was given to you with a sense of urgency or awkwardness, like they just wanted it gone. These kinds of gifts might seem harmless, but they carry the weight of unresolved emotions. Anger, resentment, bitterness. They don't just vanish when the object changes hands. They linger. And when you bring that item into your home, you're also inviting the memory of that conflict to settle in. You might not even be aware of it. Maybe you keep walking past that mirror or sitting in that chair without knowing why you feel tense or tired afterward. But objects remember things. The energy of the argument, the disappointment, the jealousy. It can echo in your home in small, quiet ways. If someone offers you something with a complicated past, pause. Ask yourself, do I really want this in my space? Do I feel at peace with it? If not, you can kindly say no. Or, if you feel it's important to keep it, consider doing something to clear its energy. Like a small ritual of gratitude and release, or even just moving it to a neutral place outside your most personal spaces. Sometimes the best way to respect a memory is to let it rest. Let's look at another kind of gift that can be trickier than it seems. And this one is about emotion. Some gifts come from people you love, but the timing is what matters. Have you ever been given something right after a disagreement, a heated moment, or a hurtful conversation? Maybe it was a peace offering. Maybe it was meant to smooth things over. But even though it was kind, it didn't feel fully clean. There was still tension in the air, right? When a gift is given during or after conflict, it often carries the emotional residue of that moment. Even if the person means well, the object can hold the vibration of guilt, regret, or avoidance. Every time you look at it, touch it, or use it, you're reminded, not of the good, but of the argument. That's not the energy you want to live with. Instead of accepting a gift in the middle of emotional tension, choose connection over compensation. Talk things through. Heal the relationship. Then, if a gift still comes afterward, it can feel genuine and light. Not a patch, but a blessing. That's how you protect your emotional space, by honoring real connection over material gestures. And remember, you are not obligated to accept anything that feels off. Not out of politeness. Not out of guilt. Your peace matters more than any object ever will. Ow. Let's take a moment to talk about something a little more personal. Memories. As we grow older, our homes become filled with reminders of the past. Photos, keepsakes, mementos. Some bring a smile. Others a quiet ache. But there's a big difference between honoring your memories and holding on to something that quietly hurts you. Sometimes a gift might bring up painful memories or remind you of a time in life that you've tried hard to move past. Maybe it's a framed photo, a book, or even a piece of clothing. On the surface, it looks innocent. But every time you see it, it pulls you back to a chapter you'd rather not reread. You might keep it because you feel like you should. You don't want to be ungrateful, especially if the gift came from someone close. But inside, you know it's bringing heaviness into your heart. And that's not something you need to live with anymore. At this stage of life, peace isn't optional, it's essential. You deserve to be surrounded by things that make you feel safe, joyful, and at ease. If something in your home pulls you into sadness, regret, or unresolved pain, it's okay to let it go. You're not erasing the past. You're simply choosing not to relive it every day. You can thank the memory, bless the person who gave the gift, and release the object with love. That's strength. That's healing. And that's how you make space for lighter, kinder energy to flow back in. Now, speaking of energy, there's another kind of gift that deserves a second thought before you accept it. And that's anything connected to spiritual or ritual practices you don't understand or don't feel aligned with. Maybe someone offers you a charm, a stone, a talisman, or a decorative item they say brings good luck. Maybe it looks beautiful, or maybe they swear by it. But here's the thing. Not every item that's labeled spiritual is good for everyone, especially if you don't know where it came from, what it means, or how it's meant to be used. Spiritual tools carry deep, subtle energy. They aren't just decorative. They're designed to direct energy in specific ways. And when you accept one without knowing its purpose, it can disrupt the balance of your space, your sleep, even your emotions. You might feel uneasy for no reason, or tired, or notice tension that wasn't there before. This isn't superstition. It's about alignment. Just like music can soothe or agitate you depending on the melody, objects can either harmonize with your energy or clash with it. If you don't feel comfortable, connected, or clear about a spiritual object, you have every right to politely decline. There's no need to justify. A simple is enough. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm careful about what I keep in my space. That's not rejection. That's protection. It's also worth saying, your spiritual path is personal. It's yours. You don't have to take on anyone else's symbols, beliefs, or objects just to be polite. Honor your own journey by being thoughtful about what you let into your home. Now let's talk about something a little more hidden, a little more subtle, but just as important. Have you ever accepted a gift and felt almost instantly that there was an unspoken expectation attached to it? Maybe it was something generous, too generous. Maybe it was wrapped with smiles, but deep down you felt a kind of pressure. A quiet voice whispering, "Now you owe them." These kinds of gifts can be tricky. On the outside, everything looks fine. But underneath, there's a contract. One that was never signed, but somehow still feels binding. And suddenly that object isn't just sitting on your shelf. It's sitting in your mind. Every time you see it, you feel like you have to call more, do more, give more. That's not generosity. That's a leash. You should never feel indebted for receiving a gift. If it comes with strings, spoken or unspoken, it's not really a gift. It's a transaction in disguise. And that's not how healthy relationships work. As we age, our time, energy, and emotional space become more valuable than ever. You've earned the right to spend your days without guilt or emotional IOUs. If someone offers you something and your gut tells you there's a price, emotional, relational, or otherwise, listen to that. You don't owe anyone your peace. It's okay to say no, even to the most well-wrapped gift. And if you've already accepted something that's starting to weigh on you, you can reset the boundary. Give it back with kindness. Or simply let the person know that your connection matters more than any item. Often that honesty deepens the relationship. And if it doesn't, well, that tells you something too. And while we're on the subject of imbalance, let's take a moment to talk about gifts that are far more extravagant than the relationship itself. You've probably been there before. Someone gives you something expensive, way out of proportion to the nature of your connection. Maybe it's a luxury item, jewelry, electronics, something you'd never buy for yourself. And suddenly, instead of feeling touched, you feel uncomfortable. That feeling matters. Sometimes people use big gifts to win favor, to impress, or even to control. Other times, it's simply poor judgment or a misunderstanding of boundaries. Either way, when a gift makes you feel small, indebted, or pressured, it's not worth the price tag. You don't have to accept something just because it's generous. Generosity should feel warm, mutual, and natural, not one-sided. If a gift feels like it's too much, emotionally, financially, or symbolically, pause. Ask yourself, what does this change? If it shifts the balance of the relationship or makes you feel like you owe something in return, it's okay to have a conversation. You might even decide not to keep the item. Your dignity, your independence, your emotional freedom, that's worth more than any gift. Always. Because here's the truth that gets clearer with every year. Not every nice thing belongs in your home. Not every gesture is as kind as it seems. And not every gift deserves to take up space, on your shelf or in your heart. It's not about being rude. It's not about being suspicious. It's about being in tune with your space, your spirit, and your peace. When you know how to protect those things, you stop letting outside energy throw you off balance. You stop saying yes just to keep the peace, and start saying yes only when it brings you peace. Now let's talk about one more kind of gift that may seem harmless, but isn't. In fact, it often shows up in the most delicate moments, times of tension, hurt, or misunderstanding. It's the kind of gift you receive right after an argument, a disagreement, or a fallout, when emotions are still raw and things haven't been fully resolved. Maybe someone shows up with a small peace offering, a box of cookies, a new book, a necklace they say reminded them of you. And while it's nice on the surface, there's still that heavy air hanging around. The words that weren't said, the feelings that were never acknowledged. It's easy to accept these gifts, hoping they'll smooth things over. But here's the truth. Gifts cannot replace genuine healing. And when something is given from a place of tension, that energy often clings to it. You bring the gift into your home, thinking it'll help move things along. But what actually happens is that it becomes a quiet reminder of the conflict, the unresolved emotions, the silence that followed instead of a real conversation. Every time you see it, your chest tightens just a little. Not because of the object, but because of what it represents. When a gift is meant to fix something rather than celebrate something, it can carry confusion, guilt, or sadness. And when that becomes part of your space, your energy, your daily life, it can pull you off center. You may not realize it at first, but over time, the weight of that unfinished business can wear you down. And you deserve better than that. You deserve resolution, clarity, wholeness. Not patches or apologies wrapped in ribbon. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say, "Thank you, but let's talk first." Because a true gift, the kind that brings light, should never be a replacement for honesty. It should come after peace, not in place of it. And if you're offered something after conflict that doesn't feel right, listen to your heart. You don't have to accept it just to keep things easy. In fact, you might be doing both of you a favor by gently setting the gift aside and choosing connection instead. That's the kind of courage that clears the air for real healing. So here we are. We've walked through the kinds of gifts that may seem kind on the outside, but carry weight, history, or expectations you don't need to carry. And maybe you've thought of a few things in your own life. Something sitting on your shelf right now, or tucked in a drawer. Something you've always felt unsure about. Maybe you've never known why, but every time you touch it or look at it, something inside you feels unsettled. That's your intuition speaking. That's your inner wisdom asking to be heard. And the good news? You don't need permission to act on that feeling. You don't need to explain or justify or wait for someone else to agree. You can decide, today, to protect your energy, your space, and your peace of mind. You've lived through enough seasons to know what peace feels like. And you know when something disrupts it. So trust yourself. If a gift comes with a weight, a memory, a tie you no longer want to carry, you have every right to let it go. You can pass it on. You can donate it. You can gently part ways with it. You can even do a simple ritual of letting go. Say a few words of thanks, bless the object, and release it from your life. Because every item you keep in your home should support the life you're building now. not pull you back into a life you've already outgrown. There's a quiet power in making space, in choosing with care, in saying, this belongs here, and this does not. It's not about being strict. It's about being intentional. When you start choosing what surrounds you with more awareness, you begin to feel lighter, clearer, and more at home. Not just in your space, but in yourself. And if there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's this. Your peace is priceless. You are allowed to protect it. You are allowed to prioritize it. You are allowed to live in a space where everything around you supports your energy, not drains it. So take a breath. Look around your home. What belongs? What doesn't? What feels like love and what feels like a burden? You don't have to make changes all at once. Just start with one small shift. One item. One decision to honor what feels right for you. And as you begin to clear the path, you'll notice something beautiful. The more you choose peace, the more peace will choose you. It'll show up in your mornings, in the way your shoulders relax, in the quiet sense of ease that fills your day. That's the reward of living in alignment with your spirit. If this message resonated with you today, I'd love to hear from you. What have you let go of recently that helped you feel lighter? Or what gift are you thinking about releasing now? Leave a comment down below. Your story might be just the nudge someone else needs to hear. And if you found this video helpful, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel Strong Elderly Life, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss new content that supports your well-being, peace, and personal growth. You've got so much wisdom inside you, and every day is another opportunity to live with more intention, more ease, and more joy. So here's to living your best life, one choice at a time. Stay well, stay clear, and keep choosing peace. We'll see you next time.